Welcome to the Next Homie Focus Group. We meet every other week on Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And this week we're very fortunate. We've got a great guest. We have Bryce Morrison. And he's a marketing strategist, speaker, entrepreneur, and he's based down in Fort Myers, Florida. He's a founder of a thing called the Brew Crew. It's a community where entrepreneurs and business owners and freelancers come together. They sip, share, and succeed. Bryce is really known for his talks and edification on modern networking, showing professionals how to turn casual connections into meaningful collaborations. And if you'd like to learn more about the Brew Crew, go on Facebook and they have a group called The Brew Crew Life. The Brew Crew Life on Facebook. So make sure you check that out. And welcome, Bryce. We are so glad to see you here today, my friend, and looking forward to what you have to say. So go right ahead.
Man, Chuck, you make me actually sound important. I like that. That was nice. Yeah, I'm here today to talk about how to work the room in a digital age. And this is something that I've shared quite a few times. We were just talking about this earlier. I am down in Fort Myers now, but I was up in Orlando. And in Orlando, I was the new kid on the block. I had moved there because my parents were there and my father passed away and my mom was all alone. So I dropped everything. I was the one child who was able to do so, and I went there. I love my wife. She follows me everywhere. But we went down to Orlando and I had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had shut down my tech startup that I was running up in the Midwest, and no job, no nothing. So I started just attending some networking events, just casually looking for ideas, thoughts. What's my next entrepreneurial escape? What am I gonna do? And I decided that I was going to purchase a travel agency. And I did that. And then I started networking even harder. And I met someone who introduced me to a small organization in Orlando called the Real Producers. Any realtors out there, generally speaking, you know who the Real Producers are. There's one in pretty much every large town throughout the US. And Orlando is one of the biggest and best. And in going to that event, I truly discovered how different networking is today to when I first started networking 20 plus years ago, because I hadn't really had to do much networking in between. And back in the day, let me ask this question. Drop in the chat if anybody has ever thrown a business card at you at a networking event. You're wandering around, and all of a sudden, somebody ducks in, they throw a business card at you, and they're gone 2 seconds later, right? But at the same time, that's what it was 20 plus years ago. That's all you did. It was how many business cards can you give away? How many business cards can you take from somebody so you can put them in your Rolodex? For those who are younger realtors out there, Rolodex is kind of like your CRM, okay? But it was manual. And how many business cards can you throw into that Rolodex and call the next day, right? That doesn't work today. You can do it, and don't get me wrong. Anything that I say, there are no any mentor from any people you study, any of the people you learn from. They can tell you, and you can do the door knocking, the business card throwing, the random messages to people, and it will work. The biggest challenge with that, though, is a couple things. Number one, is it sustainable. Because here's the thing, if somebody you send a bunch of LinkedIn messages or Facebook messages to random people, yes, if you did it enough, or if you cold called enough people, you would find enough people to survive for that year. Are they going to be your customer next year? Are they going to send anybody your way next year? Because if they respond to that, it's not likely they're going to refer you. So, what I share, what I talk about today, is not to say that any of these other methods don't work, but what I'm going to share is what has worked for me and what I believe works best today. I'm not the end all be all, but I like what I do and it has worked well for me. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I have a small presentation here. It is interactive, so every once in a while I will close the screen and ask a question. I do invite participation. If anybody wants to raise their hand, I'm happy to answer questions all along the way. There will be a Q&A at the end as well. But if you want to interrupt me, don't hesitate. I'm used to actually being live and in person. And when I'm live and in person, I throw candy and I ask for people to talk and I get people grouped together to talk to each other. So if you guys want to engage, please do. All right. So first, I want to share with you that one of the things that we didn't, that I was not introduced for is the fact that I actually do work quite a bit with AI. I go by the AI wordsmith. I have transitioned at this juncture in my life. All I really do is speak, some training, and I help people with AI and small business growth. So I like to call myself a resource barista. The point to that is, yes, we have a coffee theme going with our Brew Crew and Brew Crew Chats, which is our podcast, and Brew Crew Life for our Facebook group. So as a barista doesn't make coffee, they serve it. And what I mean by that is they put coffee, milk, sugar, things of that together, and then they give it to you. Somebody else took the beans out of the farm and they roasted the beans and they did all that other stuff. The barista doesn't typically do any of that. I think of myself that way. I don't know everything, but I know how to find everything. I'm really, really good at finding both people and resources to get you the answers you're looking for. So within the Brew Crew, I am the resource barista. There are a lot of people in there that have a lot of knowledge. Pat mentioned earlier, I think before we started recording, I'm not sure. She mentioned Tommy up in Orlando. Tommy is a phenomenal resource when it comes to referrals and things of that nature. There's Georgie Hagan, who is amazing at communication. There's a lot of people. Of course, Pat and Chuck are our realtor specialists within the group. I'm the person who can help you find someone who can answer the question when I can't, or a tool that can help you find that. So we're going to talk about working the room in a digital age. If I can get it to move. There we go. The reason I brought up the AI, this presentation was made by AI. And I'm going to point out an issue with this presentation here in a few minutes. But I want to make sure everybody knows the tools are getting better and better. This took me about 5 minutes to create. And um, part of it was that I have a lot of this knowledge already accumulated within ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT to write the prompt, and then I had Canva create it automatically using just a prompt. So old versus new networking, we talked about this a little bit. I mentioned some of the old techniques, but I didn't really talk about what's new, what we're doing differently. I mean, obviously, if business cards are old and throwing business cards are old, then there has to be an alternative. Let's stop the share for a minute. I want to ask, does anybody want to talk about the last event you were at and business cards and whether or not you actually kept any of the business cards?
Pat and I go to a lot of networking events, and it seems like everybody follows the same pattern where they are more interested in getting their card in your hand and a quickie, 30-second spiel than creating a relationship and trying trying to sell directly to you than rather than telling you what they do so you can refer others to them.
So I'm curious, you've nailed it. That's my experience as well. Generally speaking, a lot of people do that. Do you personally hand out a lot of business cards?
I do.
I guess.
I do.
Yeah.
But that's not really the idea. We're
Right.
we're
Okay.
looking to make friends.
There you go. So now let me ask you one last question.
Mhm.
How many business cards have you ever followed up with?
All of them.
Great answer. That is an absolutely fantastic answer, and you are in the minority. That is one
Right.
of the biggest
Woohoo.
issues. And it's way more so today than it was 20, 30 years ago. 20, 30 years ago, every business card was followed up with. Today, most business cards get thrown away. And that's why we're talking about this today. There are alternatives. I'm not saying to get rid of your business cards. I don't personally carry physical business cards, but it's a personal choice and it's based on the way that I network. The difference is I use a digital business card. My phone, I actually have a QR code. I don't know if you can see that, but I have a QR code right there on my home screen. And that QR code goes to my personal information and any kind of access to me. I even have a calendar that they can access if they want to. The challenge with physical business cards, first of all, it's do you have a process to follow up? If you do, fantastic. Obviously, Chuck, you do. I'm not that organized. So it makes it challenging for me. I don't like trying to follow up. So what I actually do is I work to make a friend, as you mentioned, Pat, at the event, or maybe it was you, Chuck. I make a friend at the event. My goal at every event is at least one. If it's a really large event, I prefer a few of them. But when I say make a friend, I'm going to do a few different things. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So when I walk into a room, I'm not going to actually share any business cards. I'm going to start to look for people. All right. So this is what I wanted to mention with AI. How many of you, I got to look at y'all again. How many of you truly believe that 73% of relationships start online? I don't. And it's not true. This is one of those cases where AI has hallucinated. They created a statistic. And the reason for that is it gathers information from every part of the interweb. And when people throw out numbers and they throw out things, it just grabs a hold of it and puts it together with something else and says, oh, 73% of relationships start online. It's not true. That being said, relationships are cultivated online today far more than they ever were before. Obviously, we never had it back then, but it is very challenging to cultivate a relationship without doing so online today. And that was the reason why this this slide was here. I left it in because I thought it was funny and I wanted to share with you that AI is not flawless. You gotta look after it. So in-person and digital strategies, edifying introductions. What do I mean by that? Well, Chuck gave a perfect example of an edifying introduction when we first started this. I do that at events. And that's when we talk about creating and growing the Movers and Shakers Collective in Orlando, which I did, and entering the Real Producers uh, organization and growing the influence with big names there. That's exactly how I did it. I knew nobody. I was a nobody. Nobody cares that I had a tech startup with, a really high valuation. Nobody cares about that. That's my past. Nobody cares that well, some people care that I was a veteran, and I love them. But it really doesn't help me to network, really. When I go into a room, I first of all will try to have somebody there that I already know. And there's a couple of tips that I can give you a little bit later to help you with that. But I try to have a wingman or wingwoman in the room already. And every time I meet someone, I introduce them to someone else. That's the edifying introduction. I find out as much as I can about someone, and then I take them over and say, "You have to meet Chuck. Chuck is going to blow your mind with his knowledge about the color orange. It is absolutely amazing what he knows about orange." And, I share something true and personal, and I edify both the person I'm introducing and the person I'm introducing them to. And a lot of times I will then walk away. I won't even ask for a contact. I won't ask for a business card. I won't ask for an appointment. I won't ask for anything. I will make the introduction and then walk off and find somebody else to talk to. But I'm going to come back. I'm going to say to James, "Hey, that conversation with Chuck, how'd that go? What'd you think of Chuck?" "Oh man, Chuck was amazing. You're right. He knows anything and everything there is about the color orange. I can't believe how many products he has that are orange." You know, I really love Chuck. He's an amazing guy. What do you think about us getting together and having a cup of coffee with Chuck one of these days? Yeah? Okay, James. Fantastic. Let me get your contact information. Oh, by the way, let's take a selfie. Let's post it on Facebook. It is really, truly that simple to go from just saying hello to not only having a connection on Facebook and an appointment, but also creating value in a relationship with you, which is the most important thing out of all of this. It's not about whether or not they can borrow your services, use your services, and they don't, at this point, a lot of times they don't even know what I do because all I've ever done is ask them questions and introduce them to somebody. They may not even know what I do at this point, but they're going to know what I do later on when they look at my Facebook profile because we have now connected and I tagged them in that photo. Before I go into pre-event preparation, I just wanted to ask, does anybody have any questions about what I've shared so far?
Yes, sir, I have one. So it pertains to the electronic business cards. And when somebody shares an electronic business card with me, uh, more times than not, it just disappears into the haystack of contacts on my phone. And I may or may not remember their name after the fact. So
Right.
do you have any tips for being able to follow up on those new contacts?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. As a matter of fact, I think that I mentioned it later on in the slides, but I can't remember. I ran through a couple of iterations of slides, and I don't know if it's actually on the slide. But there is one product that I suggest in particular. It's called Hi Hello. Hi Hello is a little bit better than the rest of them. Number one, the free version is perfectly fine. I have three different business cards, one personal, one for one of my businesses, one for another business. And I can rotate those on my home screen on my phone, depending on which card I want to give the person. So that's amazing. And again, it's free. Even that at that level. But what's most important to me about Hi Hello is the fact that it automatically prompts them to give me their information. It's not just one way, me giving them mine. They're going to give me theirs back. And it's just a matter of it to some extent becomes my CRM because now I can go into Hi Hello at any point and go, okay, I was at such and such event. I met three, four, five people, and here's their contact information, and I can transfer it over to my other CRM, and I've got all that contact information. Oh, I thought that was somebody asking a question, but it's somebody coming into the room.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. So um, you're right. I mean, it's really no different than a physical business card. It's very, very similar. The biggest difference is with digital, they're not only going to hopefully give me their contact information, but they're also going to have access to my socials. Here's the other thing about today. I'm going to talk about my personal beliefs and thoughts. When I go into a room and I start networking with somebody, I might go sit in a corner for an hour and find out enough information about somebody that I'm going to want to do business with them. Maybe. That's not an efficient use of my time. But if instead I find out what their social media is, now I can find out a lot more about that person. A digital business card gives you that ability. The other thing that you could use is a Linktree profile. You could just Linktree has the ability to create the QR code right there inside of Linktree, again for free, and you can have all your links there that go to all your social media, your website, everything else. That's another way for you, but it's one way. That's why I don't typically use that exclusively, and I use the Hi Hello when I'm actually networking because then I can get their information. But but it really is important today, at least for me, to have social media of the person that I'm getting ready to have a relationship with, because that gives me way more information than I can glean within the short time that I'm at a networking event. And I can determine whether or not I want to do business with this person and continue a relationship with them. Now, if I really hit it off with them, then I'm going to do exactly what I said earlier, and I'm going to set a one-to-one with them right then and there and get them on my calendar and make sure I'm on their calendar. But yeah, the digital is far better for doing that. All right, so pre-event preparation. Have you ever, I got to stop screen sharing. I got to see you all. Have you ever gotten ready for an event before the event? Have you done any preparation at all? And I'm not talking about when you're hosting. I'm talking about when you're getting ready to go to an event. I see both Chuck and Pat nodding. Anybody else? Do you get ready for an event ahead of time? Do you have any procedures, anything you do?
It depends on the event.
Okay. So you just had an event in Tampa. Did you find anything out about any of the people who were going to be at that event before you went to Tampa?
I knew some of them because people were coming from all around the world for the aromatherapy conference, but most of the things I learned from, like you, I met the person, and then they would say, Sherry, you might like to talk to this person also. That's what they did.
Excellent.
It was a very warm crowd of I have to say, very huggy women and a couple of men that got extra hugs
Well,
also. But, I had been to a NAHA conference before. I kind of know how they work, but this one also had some very special events to honor two well-known aromatherapists who had passed away. So there was this camaraderie of these two pillar people in our community that lost their lives suddenly.
sounds like that was an amazing event, though, and
It
great
was.
people who knew how to network properly. Thank you for sharing that, Sherry. Chuck, Pat, you mentioned or you nodded when I asked the question. What do you do to prepare for an event?
Well, a couple things that we always do is we make sure we've got our stuff. We've got handouts. We've got um, one thing that it's really effective for us is we've got these pet stickers, and they're the kind where, uh,
Luke?
well, yeah, Luke is on it, and if you have any pets in your house, you mark it and you stick it near your front door.
Oh yeah, we
So
have one of those.
yeah,
Yep.
so if firefighters ever have to come to your house, then they'll know that you have pets and they can look for them. So that's one
Awesome.
thing. We make sure we've got our little handout things. And and you're right. If there's going to be anybody special there, we want to make sure we know who they are.
All right, so I'm going to push for you to do one extra step moving forward. And don't get me wrong, if you've had a an okay day and there happens to be a networking event nearby and you're like last minute, okay, I'm going to go to this networking event, obviously go to the networking event. But if there's a bigger event coming up that you really want to maximize and make sure that you get the most out of, what I encourage you to do is a couple of things. One, see if you can find a website or their Eventbrite or something of that nature that shares who is hosting, whether or not they have sponsors, if there are any speakers, and maybe even who's attending. Some events, especially now that we're doing more and more events online, virtual events, they actually list out everybody who's attending as well. Now, I'm not going to tell you to, I don't want you to cold call. And I do want you to still feel at your level of comfort willing to go and reach out, especially to the person hosting and the sponsors. And if you're sponsoring an event, reach out to the other sponsors. The reason you need to do this, sponsors are the most likely to bring people. So they're going to know people who are at the event. So if you make a friend with one of the sponsors before you go to the event, that sponsor is more likely to introduce you to somebody that they brought to the event. So reach out to all the sponsors. The host, especially, say, hey, I'm so excited to come to your event, Chuck. I'd really like to know here's who I am. I'm excited because of this. Is there anybody that you know is coming to the event that you would highly recommend that I meet? 2 or 3 people? Absolutely. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to write those names down. Now, here's the key. When I go to that event, I'm going to look for the host. You know what I'm going to say to the host? Hey, you mentioned Larry. Can you introduce me to Larry? Now, instead of just walking up to Larry and saying, hey, I was told to meet you, the event host has said, hey, Larry, this is Bryce. You two should talk. I have a warm introduction already, somebody that I can actually build a relationship with that quick. That's pre-event planning. It's just a matter of reaching out to as many people as you can connect with ahead of time. The host and the sponsors are incentivized to take your call. If they really want to maximize the event, they're going to take your call or your Facebook message or your email, whatever the case may be. They're going to want you to reach. I cannot tell you how many times I have reached out to sponsors and they've gone, oh my goodness, yes, I'm happy to introduce you. They're excited because any chance they get to add value to their customers and their clients, they want to take advantage of. And all you're doing is giving them that opportunity to add value to the event. So that's pre-event planning. All right. So digital business cards, yeah, like I said, engage with hi hello QR codes. Like I said, hi hello is one of the best ways. It's one of the best products out there. I love it, especially since it's free. I try to use free tools as much as possible. Like I said, I'm the resource barista, so I use free tools so that I can try to recommend as many free tools as possible when I help people. Easy sharing and access. That's one of the reasons why digital business cards are so excellent, and making connections effortlessly. It's a lot easier to make sure you get that connection when you're just holding up your phone, or sometimes people just carry the QR code. So much easier. Nobody has to type anything in. It's just that quick. Realistic goals, though. You got to focus on key appointments. I always look for, like I said earlier, at least one appointment. Obviously, if there's 5 people in the room, it may be a little more challenging. But if you go to an event where there's 40, 50 people, it's hard to believe that you won't get at least one appointment out of that room. You just got to connect with as many people as possible, and don't allow yourself to get caught up in the sky is blue. If the conversation isn't productive, excuse yourself. Say, hey, listen, it's been amazing getting to know you, and I want to make sure that I maximize this event. I want to connect with some other people. Do you have a recommendation before I head out? If they do, great. If they don't, you've just excused yourself out of the conversation. Quality over quantity matters. Like I said, I've been to events where people have actually handed me a book, an actual physical hardcover book. Oh, I wrote this book. Here. I don't even know who you are. Throwing business cards, handing out books, it's just not the way to do it today. Quality over quantity. Make sure you're connecting and getting to know people. Meaningful interactions win. The more meaningful it is, the more likely you are to maximize that connection. The in-room strategy. Show up, be present, and engage actively in networking opportunities at every event you attend. And what I mean by that is there are all kinds of networking events out there. If it is a speed networking event, engage, participate. If it's a dance event, engage, participate. Whatever the case is, make sure that you're actually engaging and participating. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a Chamber of Commerce event and not been able to break into any of the circles because everybody already knows everybody and they're just talking to the people that they know and they're not even trying to network. What's the point? So I encourage you, when you're at an event, be open and welcoming. Even just in your stance, be open and welcoming. Don't tighten the circle and make sure that only the 3 of you can talk to each other. Open yourself up to the conversation with someone else. Take pictures. Take tons of pictures. I got to tell you a story. I was building a network in Treasure Coast, and I was living in Orlando at the time. So I drove all the way to Treasure Coast, a couple of hours drive one way. And I went to an event at an attorney's home, big time attorney in the area. And I was told this is the guy. He wasn't even out and about in the event. He was probably smoking cigars with one other person somewhere out on the back patio or something, but he wasn't out there and networking. It was just everybody else who was networking. They had a big, like 4-piece band and all this beautiful setup of hors d'oeuvres and everything. You know what I ended up doing? I was there for about 15 minutes because everybody knew everybody. I took pictures of the hors d'oeuvres and I got massive engagement online. And then I had people say, "Oh, I missed you at the event. Oh, I wish I had known that event was happening." Don't just walk into a room, look around and go, "I'm not going to get anything out of this," and walk out. Working the room in a digital age can go beyond even connecting with one person. Take pictures at the event, post them, tag the location, tag the event, tag the host if you can, and make a big deal out of having been at the event. Take a selfie with the hors d'oeuvres, take a selfie with the band in the background, whatever you can. And if you can get one, even one person, take a selfie with that person and tag them. That's how you maximize the event. Share their greatness. So if you did connect with somebody, obviously you're going to know something about them. Make sure you edify when you post. Don't just say, "Hey, it was great to get to know Sherry." Why was it great to get to know Sherry? Sherry knows so much about aromatherapy. She actually was down in Tampa at this major conference. She told me all about it, and it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get to know more about what she does in business. Don't just say, "I met this person." It's not going to do anything. And they may not even like you tagging them if you just say, "I met this person. They were okay." But if you edify the heck out of them, it's highly likely, even if they are a very well-known person, that they're going to like the fact that you tagged them. I'm telling you, when I first started working the room up in Orlando, again, I was brand new in the area. I knew nobody. And yet I was getting tagged in photos with the most influential people in Orlando in the business world, in real estate and others. And it was because I worked to edify them and introduce them to others. Meet afterwards. Like I said, schedule follow-up meetings to deepen the relationships and then help them do the same. Encourage others to connect and tag you in return. Make sure you say that. "Hey, if somebody else takes a picture, a selfie or a picture of you, hey, would you mind tagging me in that?" One of the other things that I do at every event, I try to get to know the photographer. If there's an actual paid photographer at the event, I'm going to get to know them. I'm going to find out their name. I'm going to find out if they need a glass of water. The reason I do that is because the best of them will walk up to you when you're standing next to an influential person and they'll do this. And that means get next to that influential person and I'll take a picture of you and it'll go in the local magazine and tell everyone who's this person that's at every event. Post-event engagement. Go to sleep. That would be me because I'm an introvert and I get worn out. I'm kidding. That is not what you need to do for post-event. Post-event follow-up. Reconnecting and engage. Confirm your meetings. Make sure that they remember that they set a meeting with you because some of these events have alcohol. Upload event photos. If you have a ton of photos, upload them all and tag the event. And encourage people to tag themselves in the photos if they see themselves. Engagement beats posting. If all you do is post, "I was at this event, I was at this event, I was at this event," it doesn't really do anything. But if you talk about and edify people who are at the event, it creates engagement, and engagement is what carries your message further and gets people to want to be in those photos with you, and it encourages them to create a relationship with you. I'm going to skip the tagging exercise. I'm running a little short on time, but in a normal in-person event, what I would actually do is I would get everybody in the room to connect with 2, 3, 4 people, take a selfie, and then tag each other in the selfie. It is a great way, even if it's an educational event, for you to get traction. And if you guys want to take a screenshot of anything and share it online, please don't hesitate to Send me a friend request or follow me on Facebook and feel free to tag me. I'm happy to be tagged. I'm easy to find, Bryce Morrison, and I've always got a hat on in every picture. So the tag framework, master networking through targeted engagement strategies. I tried to find a video of the movie Tag because I love that movie. But you know, it's hard to get that. So I put a family playing tag. So my own journey, like I said, it was all about creating genuine connections, taking photos, uplifting others, thriving network environment that transcended traditional business interactions. Tag. Remember this. If you want to take screenshots, don't hesitate. Target and tease. Research potential connections before the event to create buzz and tailored introductions that engage. A, add value. Elevate others by sharing their accomplishments, tagging them in posts, and fostering genuine connections. I believe that this is the biggest difference between networking today and 20 years ago. If you don't add value, you're not going to do a very good job of connecting and building relationships. And lastly, gather and grow. Follow up. You have to make sure that Chuck, bless him, I have never been great at follow up until I was digital. Now I love to follow up. As a matter of fact, my good friend Georgie gave me this. It's a Halloween card. She gives me thank you cards. I now send thank you cards because of it. And by the way, in the last 90 days, my most reach of a post was when I thanked her for this and tagged her. It works. Conclusion. I encourage you to connect with someone else in the room at every event. If you want to connect with me, all of my information is here. The Brew Crew Chats link tree is this QR code here. I put that there because the best way for you to find out more about me is to get into the Facebook group and listen to the podcast and find out more. But you are perfectly welcome to email if you'd like to connect, or my website is brycetime.com if you would like to schedule a 15-minute consult with me. My calendar is on there. With that, I will open it up to Q&A.
Man, that was awesome. I took so many notes.
I took
I
pages.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's
great.
edification. I love it.
Yes, lots of good stuff. Thank you so much.
I do.
Go ahead.
I do want to talk about the digital world, and I guess I never really thought about it being digital like in this way. So
Mm,
many of you may or may not know that Chuck was a commercial photographer for 30 years. No weddings or anything like that, commercial photography. But I'm a photographer as well, but not professionally. And so interestingly enough, I've become friends with many photographers all around the whole world on Facebook. So there's a photographer by the name of Jacques Chevalier in Ghent, Belgium, who we became very good friends with on Facebook for years. And then in 2013, when Chuck and I were planning our honeymoon, I wanted to go to Belgium. And so we talked to Jacques, via Facebook Messenger, and we arranged to meet up with him and his wife Karen over in Ghent, Belgium. So it's just interesting how the digital world really can become actually very, very small. And for us, it really meant a lot for me to go meet him. It wasn't about the photography, even though we had a shared interest, because Jacques is an accomplished photographer in Ghent. And it wasn't that. It was the friendship and the camaraderie. And the world is actually very small if you think about it. So that was kind of one example. The other is I officiate weddings. I do that on the side. I love it. I love doing renewal of vows or officiating weddings. And even that, like I did a wedding yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yesterday was just
Or
yesterday.
no, Sunday.
Sunday. What's today? Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I know it's
Tuesday.
Sunday. Up in Dade City, which is absolutely gorgeous if you've never been there. It's so pretty, very country-like, and there's actually hills and everything. And it was a young couple who got married. And so I sign off on it as the officiant. I use my stamp. But like I gave each of them my business card. It wasn't digital, but it was a physical card because you never know if they would have a real estate need. So even though it wasn't digital, I didn't even know these people before we met them on Saturday night for the rehearsal dinner. But they got to know us by our social media. We became friends on Facebook. They got to see what I was about. And I think that by not utilizing the digital footprint that we have, my hashtag is no secrets. He gets very frightened by that because I really am an open book about my life and my past and everything. But I think that that's really authenticity. And I think being authentic in the digital world is really, really important and not having like an air about you or I'm better than you or, whatever, just that kind of thing. But to be authentic in the digital world is just so important and people can smell it out if you're not being authentic. So those are just like two things. And I also wanted to say, I highlighted it. I put it all over about share their greatness. I thought that was a wonderful thing to say because we know about ourselves. We need to share about the other person. And I thought that was really a very, very good thing to say in this whole presentation.
I I love that aspect of it. Like I said, I built my entire network of people just by edifying others. I really didn't talk about myself at all. I didn't have anything to talk about really, except background, past that nobody cared about. One of the things I wanted to mention, Pat, my wife and I, we flew to Orlando. We were living in the Midwest. We flew to Orlando and got married at Disney.
I love it.
And my two preteen children were a part of the wedding. It was just a small in front of the Princess Castle. And the best pictures that came out of that entire process were from the pastor. And part of it was that he shared a detailed thought about how amazing it was for my kids to be involved in and to commit to the marriage. And I still to this day, and he tagged me on Facebook, and that was 13, 12 years ago. And I just, it's absolutely amazing. It means so much. That is an example right there of how important the digital age is to us. Memories are so well kept online now. Obviously, you have to be careful if somebody doesn't want it. But you know what? I ask for forgiveness. I'd rather connect with you and lift you up and make you feel better if I can.
Well, that was another thing that I put it like an asterisk next to because I really do this all the time, or at least I try to. Like selfies are important to tag people and about tagging the location and the host. I think that was one thing that I don't do that all the time, and I think that's something that is
Yeah, we
really
will now.
we will now. Yeah.
Don't forget the sponsors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I wrote all that down. Sponsors, speakers, people who are attending, hosting the event. And I love the idea about looking for the host to introduce you to others.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, we're in the Girl Scouts together," they that's old school networking. Find something that's relatable. But if somebody else walks up and says, "Hey, you have to meet Chuck," that automatic credibility right there.
Yeah, that's an
So
implied
yeah,
endorsement.
exactly, exactly.
And
In sales, we're taught to try to find a commonality. We both belong to American Legion. Okay, but if the president of the American Legion walks up and says, Bryce, you got to meet Tom, it's completely different. Yes, we're both in American Legion, but the president actually suggested we connect.
So true.
anyone
I
have
have,
any questions?
I do. I've been really hesitant about the digital business cards because at the Next Home Conference in Vegas, a lot of people had those cards. And I didn't realize after scanning a bunch of them in, once I got home, I didn't capture a single one. So
Really?
not a single one. And that might have been I got an Apple, updated Apple. But several people I talked to, like Pat and Chuck and Sarah Keatley and stuff, uh, through our normal dealings, I got to meet them in person. They had digital business cards and scanning them in. I never captured a single one. So I've been hesitant about using them. I like the tangibility of the business cards. And it's something that if the battery dies, it's still there,
Sure.
So I might just be old school, but when
No,
I lost
hey,
every contact in Vegas, it turned me off on them.
that's exactly what I said earlier. What I share is not for everybody. A lot of these other things do work. The one thing that I would say, two things. One, I've never had a problem with hi hello. That particular problem, I've never had. I've used it for years now. And then the second thing I would tell you is, or suggest, is if you want to still use business cards, encourage people to take a photo of it. And you too, if somebody hands you a business card, take a photo of it. Because all too often it gets washed in your back pocket or something along those lines. And that's my biggest issue with physical business cards. They get lost too easily.
So when Chuck and I go to conference, we come home really with like a stack, like this thick of
Sure.
cards. And we really do make an effort to. The one thing I do like about business cards, so I just went to an event and I got all these cards, okay? So one thing I do like about it is that you can write a note on the back of it or on the
Right.
front of it or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Just like something to remember the person by. I'm a very tactile person. I'm a touchy-feely person. So I don't know if I'll go to digital business cards. I like hi hello. I've seen that before and I actually had it on my phone, then I took it off. Um, but I am a very tactile person and not everybody is. Like I'm a hugger and I'm a very warm person. And so I'm not sure if I'll go to digital. Sorry, Bryce, but
No,
for me,
no apology
yeah,
necessary.
no, I know. But I do like the idea of digital. I mean, we've been to events where, somebody will, flash their phone and they'll be like, here's my card. And I'll be like, okay. And then it kind of got lost in the thousand
Yeah.
other, the 5,000 other people I have on my phone or however many I have on my phone. So I think for me, the physical cards work. Now, if someone does just have it digital, that'll be fine, but maybe I don't know, take a screenshot of it and just have it in my phone, like in pictures or something, you know?
So I think what's important for both of you, Corey, Pat, you two are capable of managing physical business cards. So don't give it up.
Right.
The problem that I have always found for a very long time is that I can hand out a million business cards and never hear from anybody.
Mm.
Now, on the flip side, personally, I don't hang on to physical business cards. But if I get a digital card, I connect with them either through social media or sending them an email, following up, or even just booking an appointment right there on the spot. I don't do that with a physical business card. So it's a personal thing for me. And it is just a tip or trick that can work in this digital age. But again, if you're fantastic at cataloging those business cards and actually following up, Don't lose that. Keep that up. But most people are not like you, honestly.
I like the idea of being able to have tangibility. I got the orange book.
Yep.
I know Pat's got one of these too. But also, I like the taking a picture and tagging them. So I'm
Yeah.
going to try to do both. So that way, um, you're hitting both ends of the spectrum, I guess.
Bingo.
Wait, what is that
Unless
orange thing
people
you
are on
showed, Corey?
It's a business card holder.
I love it. I don't have one of those.
I thought you did.
Are
No,
you
like,
kidding?
wait, you said I had one. Wait, I need
I thought,
one now.
I
Where'd
thought
you
you
get
had
that
one.
from?
Probably Amazon.
Okay. Well, I'm an oddball. I don't have an Amazon account either. Don't everybody faint right here.
Well, and you open it up and it's all next homies.
Gotcha, of course.
It's perfect.
Oh my God, I love that thing.
If I find it, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, please. That's awesome. Chuck has Amazon. I don't. I never order anything. I'm not a
Andrea does.
shopper.
Andrea does. I don't. So
There you go. Yeah, I'm not a shopper.
yeah,
Yeah, Carla does my shopping for me too.
same deal.
The only thing I would say about a business card, and I'm a holistic healer and I'm very much about touch and feel. If you're going to get a business card, get a damn good one. And the reason I say that
Yes, I
is
agree.
when you put that in their hand, I actually will spend the extra money for the raised print because when you touch it, there's another message that is sent through that energetic piece. And people laugh at me for it because they'll buy a bunch of cheap cards. No, no, no,
I
no.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, and
I
that,
love having a nice card too.
yeah,
So
a
our
nice card, well done, and it's got a touchy feel to it. There's just,
Yeah.
oh, and you'll take another look. So it's just, I don't know if it's important to say, but I'm a big feeler about good stuff. Don't give me cheap stuff.
Because of Chuck and Pat, I went and got the double thick ones like you're about to show. Yeah, they're
Yes. So I know
super
you all
thick.
can't see this, but there's actually, I don't know if you could see, it's
Yes.
an orange
Absolutely.
line
Yep.
there. And
Yep.
these are extremely thick cards. I know it doesn't show on this screen right now, but whenever anybody gets our card, they actually just what you're saying, Sherry, they'll feel the card and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, that is such a nice card." And you see them, you know, putting the card in an appropriate place that they're going to keep it.
Yeah. It's an extension of you, and the fact that you've gone that extra mile, I think is important.
Well, and everybody thinks you've handed them two or three cards and they go looking at it really close. And it's like, oh, wait, this is just one. It's like, damn, that's a nice card.
Hey, Corey, I'm glad to hear you got the thick ones. They're a lot more money, but
Worth it.
it's so worth it.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to get one from you in Dallas so I can feel it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can do this because you probably get them from a specific provider, but one
We
of
do.
the things that I do with my business cards when I do get nice business cards, I'm not really networking anymore. I'm virtual for almost everything now. But when I do have physical business cards, I only round two of the corners. It sets it apart from every
Yep.
other business card out there.
Yeah.
So one other thing that you mentioned, Bryce, which I think is a really important conversation here today, is connecting to people and keep yourself in the loop. So Chuck and I purposefully, we have our tagline is like your friends in Florida. Like a lot of people who live like Corey, he may not know where Tampa Bay is, or St. Pete,
Yeah.
or Clearwater, or Fort Myers, or even Key West, or Daytona. I mean, people don't know, just like I don't know Idaho.
Right, right.
And so when you're thinking about like referrals, I think about two different things. One is a recommendation and one is a referral. And they're two different things in my world of real estate. I have people, not only next home agents, but agents all over the country who get in touch with me as a connector. If I do not service that location, who can you recommend? And it's not only for Florida, it's actually It's really out throughout the United States, to be honest with you, including Hawaii and Alaska. It's just that you're known as a kind of a connector of people,
Right.
and you want to be known as that. So, like when you mentioned about connecting to people and keep yourself in the loop, well, I don't necessarily keep myself in the loop, but they know that I connected the two of them together so that it's a referral between them. So people ask me all the time, well, why would you do that if you're not getting your referral fee? I'm like, oh my God. First of all, it's humans over houses, meaning that it's the human perspective and let's get
Absolutely.
real with this. But it's the goodwill and you will be remembered for that down the road. And when someone does need someone in Florida and it happens to be that somebody I can then get a referral for, well, that's even better. But to be a connector, I really thought that that was a really important part of the puzzle because if you are at an event and you see someone, I'm good friends with a lady who does this product called Shackley. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It's a very
Ruth is
good,
my Shackley dealer.
oh, very good. Okay. Carla Clayton is my Shackley dealer, and she's been with Shackley over 30 plus years, a long 35 years, like forever. And so, like, she changed all my cleaning products in my house to non-toxic.
Yep.
I have the Life Shake from her. I don't use any of the skin stuff because, like, well, that's just me. I could use it, but I don't use it. But so she's a connector, Carla. So, like, she will connect me with somebody else, which has nothing to do with Shackley, but we connect each other. So if you think of like, well, she's just a Shackley person, what does she have to do with real estate? Believe me, she can be with real estate
Absolutely. Yeah.
because she knows so many people. Everyone here knows so many other folks. I mean, if you looked at your CRM, you'd be like, oh my God, do I really know that many people? And you go down the list and you'd say, oh my God, yes, I do know that many people. Be a connector. Be a connector, even if I don't want to say there's nothing in it for you, but there's nothing in it for you except your recommendation for others. Be that
Well,
connector. It's so important.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Pat. The one thing that you mentioned though early on, you said you don't necessarily stay in the loop. I think you probably do, but you just don't think of it like that. Always follow up and see if the connection went anywhere. And the reason for that is, let's say your Shackley friend introduced you to someone else and you dropped the ball. She needs to know whether or not you, as a realtor, took care of her connection. So
Yes.
it's always good to at least know, hey, that realtor that I connected you with, how did they take care of you? I love to follow up and make sure that all of my friends are taken care of. It's not about keeping yourself inserted. It's just about making sure that the connection is good and good quality. And also it keeps you top of mind.
So even like yesterday, I had a realtor. I had gone to one of their events last week. It was how to improve your elevator speech. It was down in next home. It's called Beach to Bay Realty down in Osprey, which is by Venice area down south of here. And so the broker got in touch with me yesterday. She wanted someone to do an open house up in Dunedin, which is north of us here. It's not far. And so I recommended somebody to her. I connected them. Now, once again, there's nothing in it for me. It's not a
Right.
referral because it's just an open house. So whatever leads come through, that person will get the leads. Um, but it's just, she's going to remember, you want people to remember you as a connector. I think I can't
Absolutely.
emphasize that enough. Like the way I think about you and Tommy, that you're both connectors. That's just the
We
way I think
try.
of, no, but that's just the way I think about you both is that you are both very, very good connectors. And there might be something in it for you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
And what I was going to say, you mentioned that there's nothing in it, nothing necessarily in it for you because there's no referral, it's just an open
right.
house. And if it all goes well and you follow up and say, did it all go well? Again, they're going to remember that you made that connection. And the next time they do have something in your area, they're going to remember you over the person that doesn't keep in touch with them and doesn't follow up and
So
doesn't make connections.
yeah, so I am going to change that up a bit because I don't do that. I don't follow up like on that end,
Absolutely.
but I think I
Yeah.
will because the referral is going to the open house is going to be, I think next weekend. So this weekend coming up. So after that, like Monday, Tuesday, maybe Monday probably,
How'd
I'll
it go?
follow. Yeah,
Yeah.
how did everything
Yeah.
go with, her going to the open house for you? Because it was my recommendation. So I do need to
Absolutely.
know about that.
Yes.
She showed up on
Yes.
time, she had all her paperwork, she was professional, et cetera, et cetera.
I love it.
So I will
Yes.
I will change that up. Thank you for that
Yeah.
advice. Does anyone else have any questions for Bryce?
No, but I'd like to say something about Bryce since I joined Brew Crew. I'm a very quiet person and I'm not very good at writing, and he has a marvelous way to help create a AI companion that speaks truly in your voice. And through him and helping me with that, I've started to get more people to say, wow, you've got some interesting things due to his wonderful product that he personalizes and makes a big difference. And I now feel I can go out in the world and have my thoughts be written in a way that people say, wow, that sounds interesting and it's a good story. And I'll get back to you. So thank you, Bryce.
You're welcome, Sherry. Thank you for that endorsement. See, edification. I love it.
Bryce, do you want to share your contact information again? So that in case people
Sure.
want to get in
Yeah.
touch with you and, if they have any follow-up questions.
He's a whiz at all sorts of electronic things. Do check him out.
So on this screen, I just want to let you know, Bryce, it says join the community, Facebook.com groups. You can't really see under that.
Really?
Yes, it's
That's
a little cut
interesting.
off, at least on our screen.
I
True.
wonder,
Is it cut off
wonder
on
why that
everybody?
is.
Yeah.
It
Let
is.
me let me enlarge mine, see if it changes it.
Well,
Oh,
there
there
you
we
go.
go.
Yeah, if you enlarge it, you get some of it.
Okay, there you
I
go.
wonder why it did that. You're welcome, all. Have a great one.
All right,
It
you
was a pleasure.
too.